Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Top prospect Paul Skenes getting the call. Are the Twins World Series champions? We won't talk about that, but we'll talk about everything else.
Great counsel. I don't know what happened.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Baseball. Players only. Trevor Plouffe, myself, Jake Storielli, David Mendelson, coming live and presented by SeatGeek. And we're not coming live, but SeatGeek, code Talkin10, that could still hook you up on some tickets. Happy Friday, May 10th. As the baseball season gets a little more real, talks of Memorial Day on the horizon, which kind of means summer is en route. We're in a beautiful sports time of the year. There's baseball or a playoff game on every night. Trev, I had a little joke at your Twins, but God, that's an impressive series win for them as they keep rolling. Astros are still swimming downhill. Paul Skenes. There's always a lot going on in ball. What's going on with you, Trev?
I'm enjoying this start to the baseball season. It did look grim for my Twins. They are looking great. I will talk about that. Okay. Don't be putting handcuffs on my Twins talk. You're right, man. NBA playoffs are here. I don't really watch the NBA at all, though, but I am happy for you because I know that you're just a sports nut. I got to be honest with you. I don't think I've watched one basketball game all year, and that's not a knock on the NBA. It's just isn't my thing anymore. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I used to like it.
Feels like a knock.
Now I'm out.
Yeah, you're a Lakers chaser.
They're out of it, right? They lost.
They're out. Yeah. Sorry, Trev.
Tough.
It's okay. You're Clippers too. Enough LA, unless we're talking Cole Tucker defensive highlights or I think Dodgers are on something stupid right now. I think they're 14-2 in their last 16 or something like hot. That. They've outscored opponents in that stretch like 100-32 or something. It's kicked into gear for them. Another shocker. Let's talk some ball, Trev, because we did have some good baseball played, and we've got a couple good topics. Awards. I'm excited for yours. Not as excited for mine, But on a Friday, we start with some National League Baseball, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, obviously.
We will start with the Chicago Cubbies hosting the San Diego Daddies. Darvish versus Steele in that first game. Like seeing both those guys on the bump. They both put up zeros, but the Padres get it done with 6 runs in the 6th. Profar, Solano, Campusano. That's a lot of fun names to say. Not as fun as Imanaga, who, by the way, he doesn't stop. I tried to fade him because I thought it might stop. No. 7 innings, 2 earned runs, and there's your Michael Busch walk-off, but that is not enough to stop San Diego because Dylan Cease 1 hit in 7 innings, and Jake Cronenworth with a big game on the field and engaged off the field. Let's go to Jake Cronenworth, my friend, same name. Mets take 2 games from the St. Louis Cardinals. They do not play a third. It'll be made up August 5th. We will have all the coverage of that game. Mets, Cardinals, August 5th. The 2 games that did happen, Gibby versus Minaya, your guy versus my guy.
Oh, my God.
Brandon Nimmo homers in that game. Mets take the lead in the 7th. This series made headlines for a different reason. JD Martinez, Wilson Contreras, broken forearm. We talked about that a lot in the midweek. If you didn't listen, go check it out now. Why not? Mets broke that one open in the 5th inning. Alonso busting out of a 1-for-32. Contract year, people forget. Dodgers swept the Fish. Man, I tuned into this game a couple times this series. Yamamoto, 8 innings. Rodri Munoz got the pill in game 1 for Miami. and he didn't have much for these Dodgers, and nobody really does. Dodgers fans, you get something special, man. Watching Shohei, Freddie, Mookie, even Teoscar, and just watching him let it fly. It's a special team. They sweep the fish. Speaking of sweeps, hello, Diamondbacks. They've been waiting for one like this, and it comes against my Cincinnati Reds. Oh, no. Reds, losers of 8 straight? The offense is gone, and part of that is credit to Gallen, Montgomery, and then even Slade Ciccone. Oh! In that last game, Corbin Carroll
Italian?
breaking out a little bit. Why not? Jock Peterson with a big day at the office. Eugenio Suarez revenge series. Snakes needed this in a bad way. Reds, uh-oh. We'll talk about that a little bit. Giants and Rockies teed it up for 3 at Coors, and we got some Coors Field a little bit. Outside of Kyle Harrison, how's your 7 shut piece? Otherwise, the Giants, huge offensive inning in that second game, 6 runs to blow that one open. Rockies, they got the final game. They had a cycle inning. Every player, single, double, not every player. Okay. Blue Jays, Phillies, they teed it up for 2. They split 2. We had a couple of these. Orioles, Nats, they did the same. Second game went to 12 innings. Our friend Trevor Williams doing some fun stuff. Not allowing home runs. That's a really good way to pitch. Orioles with an ugly rally to win the extra inning game. Like I said, Phillies, they put up a 10 spot and Chris Sanchez shoved. The next day, Chris Bassett shoves. And their offense, Kiermaier, 3-hit day. Why not? Why not, kid? Sox and Braves teed it up, a little Chris Sale redemption game as he goes 6 shut piece. And your 2 ERA leaders, Cutter Crawford and Reynaldo Lopez, teed it up in the first one. How do you like that? The Red Sox don't like it a lot. Braves took both games. Ozuna cannot be stopped this year. And your final series, Angels. They take 2 out of 3 from the Pirates. Mitch Keller, 9 innings, 1 earned run. We love that for Mitch in the game they won, but you can't stop Kevin Pillar's 2 homers in game 2. And Sandoval had a nice start. Joe Adell hitting. The other stuff gets loose sometimes. But that is what happened in the National League. Paul Skenes getting called up for the Pirates. Do you have the standings, Trev?
It's a great job, Pop. That was a lot of National League games with all the interleagues, and you crushed it, as usual. And I don't know what you're doing right now.
Dirty.
Was that
I
seductive?
was taking a sip of my coffee. If you liked what you saw, I don't know. That's none of my business.
I didn't. I didn't like it at all.
You sound like Joe's looking at Mrs. Met.
How about Joe's not knowing any number 24s? What? That's like the most iconic number in baseball. Willie Mays, Miguel Cabrera, Trevor Plouffe, whatever. In the National League.
Yeah.
In the East, those Phillies, they just are rolling, baby. 26-12. 2 games above the Atlanta Braves, who are 22-12. The Mets sitting right at 18-18. And the Nationals tied with them. 500 ball, 18-18 for them as well. In the Miami Marlins, 10-29. In the Central, Milwaukee a half game in front of the Cubs. They're 22-15, while the Cubs are 22-16, excuse me. Pirates 17-21. The Reds 16-21 on an 8-game cooler, not a heater, a cooler. And then the Cardinals, what is you doing, baby? Are you dead? 15-22 at the cellar of the Central. And in the West, those Dodgers 26-13, the Padres 20-20, Arizona 18-20, San Francisco 17-22, already 9 games back, my goodness. And Colorado on the bottom of the entire league at 9-28. And those are your standings.
Your worst team in baseball, the Colorado Rockies. Makes me sad a little bit. Makes me sad. Tough division. Tough division. Yeah, I mean, let's check the box. And that was a little sad because this is one of the special guys. This is between Pitch Ninja, Twitter itself, arm talent in general. Paul Skenes is one of the pitching prospects we've heard the most about before reaching the big leagues since You could throw Strasburg's name out there.
It's Strasburg. It's Strasburg.
Yeah, I mean, I guess before being called up, we've seen guys get called up, and you're like, Jose Fernandez, Matt Harvey days used to be a big thing. We've seen a lot of guys, once they get the call, they get hyped pretty hard. But Paul Skenes, we've heard it. I feel like I heard about this guy for 2 years at LSU. He gets drafted, and now he's getting the call to the big league. So what? I'll let you run, Trev, because it's kind of a new era for baseball. Because 10 years ago, I mean, outside of Strasburg, kids like this would still get buried for at least 2 years in the minors to learn how it's done. We've kind of flown past that, and it should be a jolt for the Pirates, although it's kind of been the hitting that's been the problem for them.
So, I mean, yeah, I don't think there's another pitcher that's debuted. I think you could talk about, Harper, and you can talk about maybe some position players to debut. I mean, shoot, Jackson Holiday had a massive debut. Adley Rutschman had a big debut.
There's something different about a pitcher, though,
It is a little bit different, especially with a guy like this. I mean, he's going to be, when he debuts, the hardest throwing starter in the history of the game, like on average. Like he sits at 100 miles an hour. But what I like about him, like he's got like an interesting story, which I didn't really know, because I famously don't really care about prospects. Because
right,
as Blake Snell put it, you're a slapdick until you're not. I don't really mean that like in a literal sense, but you know what I'm trying to say, people. But his story is pretty cool. Like he, people know him from LSU, but he actually started at the Air Force Academy, was a catcher, and would close out games. Like I kind of like love that about him. He's a massive dude. Think about that dude catching. High target. That's what I envision with Paul Skenes.
Matt Wieters.
He actually hit pretty well. And then he has a good freshman year, enters the portal. LSU says, "Hey, we want you to pitch." Wes Johnson is there, former pitching coach for the Twins. Actually got like doubled his salary when he left the Twins to go be the pitching coach at LSU. It was a kind of a big thing because he left during the middle of the season. But yeah, and he turns into this monster. Not only does he have the natural ability, the stature and whatnot, but he's got this incredible work ethic, and he's just kind of burst onto the scene, man. Like he's dominated in pro ball. Like there's no other word to put it. He's just dominated in the minor leagues, and now we're gonna get to see what he does against big league hitters. It's against the Cubs, right? Tomorrow.
He's making his debut
tomorrow. Yeah, against the Cubs. And I love debuts because this is it, man. Like this is the league. There's no other stop for you. This is the pinnacle of baseball, is Major League Baseball. And you can be as good as you want in any other league. You can be the best player in any other league, and nobody gives a shit until you do it at the major league level. And I think this guy's going to be very good. I don't think there's really a doubt about it. But how good is he going to be? I don't want to like rain on the parade, but you're going to face big league hitters who, I don't think anyone's ever really accustomed to hitting 100 miles an hour. He's got plus pitches on the off speed side as well. A good slider. He started throwing like a splitter, kind of like a Johan Duran type thing. They call it the splinker, which is I am sick of the names. That's okay. Yeah. I can be an old school baseball guy if I want to sometimes. Look at this hair. It's looking good today. Don't tell me anything. But no, I'm just excited. I'm excited about it. I mean, I guess for the Pirates too. This is like a signal of they're ready for, maybe their window here. I don't know if it's going to completely change their fortune this year. But when you have, they have a three-headed monster at the top of their rotation now with Keller, Jones, and Skenes. Like, sounds like a law firm. Kind of love that. This is exciting times in Pittsburgh and exciting times for baseball. And Chris Rose and I talked about it yesterday. They should be making this a nationally televised game. However they can do it, they should be doing this, and I don't think they are. Blackout restrictions should be gone. We should be making a big deal out of this. Like, it is a big deal, but we should be trying to make it a big deal because it's good for the sport. That's kind of where I feel on Paul Skenes.
Yeah, baseball, I feel like struggles we struggled to have the must-watch moments until the playoffs. I mean, each sports league has their own thing, but we joke about it in series recaps sometimes. Like, again, these are these are 6 baseball teams, 5 that I'd say I'm super interested in this year, that played 2-game sets this week that are interleague. Like the Blue Jays, Phillies, Red Sox, Braves, Orioles, Nats all played 2-gamers. I've been excited by all those teams' seasons. To say any of those are must-watch TV, it's kind of not. I mean, Chris Sale against his old team, maybe you could say something like that, but Paul Skenes making his debut, I think, is that. And we've referenced Strasburg, and we've talked about his first start, and it was just a different time period. It was 2010. Like, I don't know, social media was kind of rolling, but not. And I think baseball had a little bit more of the spotlight, or at least Stardom did, that we saw Strasburg pitch in college. We saw his minor league starts would get aired. And we saw Skenes, he pitched in that showcase game at spring training. And Strasburg's kind of famous first start where he struck out 14 people in 7 innings was against Pittsburgh. So maybe that'll be the full circle moment that on Saturday we're talking about whatever Paul Skenes does. He's had 27.1 innings at AAA this year with 45 strikeouts. The velo's there. It does look natural. I mean, that kind of velocity, we've talked a lot about pitchers and it not being natural. But his throwing motion, it doesn't look like he's overexerting. That I don't know. This guy has a chance to be next as when we're doing Talkin baseball 20 years from now and we're screaming about Verlander and Scherzer, like this guy could potentially be the next one, or like you said, you're kind of nothing until you're something. Hunter Green throws the ball really hard, and the light bulb hasn't fully gone off yet. So that's always the other side to it, because like you're saying, with baseball being the highest league, you never really know.
You don't know until you step onto that mound what's going to happen. Hunter Green has actually pitched pretty good.
Yeah, he's settling in.
Gotta get a shout him out. I think this is a chance also, and I don't think a lot of our fans are going to care about this, but we're speaking about baseball as a business right now as well. Look, this guy has the pedigree. He has the track record in the minor leagues, won, played at a big Division I, SEC college, like that whole thing. And he's also dating someone who's very popular with the youth.
Famous
this
girlfriend.
Is a chance for it's a chance for baseball to capitalize on that and say, and Chris Rose kind of said this is baseball's chance to do the Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. I said that's on a different level, but it is in that vein where you can draw from her fans into baseball, or some of the younger demographic who maybe like casual baseball fans. I think they will tune into this game. It is a missed opportunity if they don't. I mean, they're not going to put it on national TV, or they're not going to make it blackout free, but I think it is a missed opportunity for them not to be doing that. You don't have many times where you can capture a brand new audience. That's why we're going, and I think a lot of teams are favoring, Asian players, Japanese or Korean players. That's a whole new marketplace. That's why we're searching for a baseball player out of India. There's a whole new marketplace, and teams are constantly trying to find those. You kind of have it built in right here. I don't know. I wish they would have done something a little bit more, but I'm excited to watch this, either way.
Yeah, I mean, all that's true. And they're fun and they're young. I hate to be this guy, because I can still, when I wear this shirt and shave, I could pretend to be, on the LSU campus, maybe grad school, I don't know. But there's a picture of them rolling up to the stadium, and they're in the car together, and she's been at his games and stuff. It's fun. It's cool. It's maybe it's the next Verlander, Kate Upton. How about that?
Like that.
Just passing the torch as the Yankees get to Verlander. I don't know. On a Pirates level, their pitching's actually been pretty good this year. Their starting pitching has been top 10. And our guy Jared Jones has been great. They've got a couple young arms there that I guess if you're Pittsburgh, you can be excited for that. I tried to talk myself into their offense before the season. They're 28th in OPS, 27th in runs. Henry Davis gets sent down. I am interested to see, like, we were talking about this on Wake and Jake this week, that, like, Harvey days used to be such a thing, and they were pretty electric at the ballpark, like the early Mets teams that he was on, that they were still figuring it out before their pitching kind of all came together and the Mets started to go. That I, again, like, Yankee fan, but the fellas would get together and be like, yo, we got to go check this out. Like, we saw a Strasburg Harvey start, and it was like $20 tickets. The place was packed. It was sick. And I don't know, it goes back to one of my original baseball things of, like, show off how talented and good these guys are. It's what you're saying with putting the game on TV. If you see Shohei Ohtani hit a ball 120 miles per hour, that hits differently, as the kids say. Judgy, Stanton, these pitchers, Hunter Green, like, to see that live. So I'm rooting for Paul Skenes. You should be too, unless you're the Chicago Cubs, or I guess any team in their division. That's kind of that.
I got a prediction.
Okay.
And then let's move on from this. We've talked about him for quite some time. He hasn't even thrown a pitch yet in the big leagues. That's me being a hater a little bit. Yeah. Paul Skenes, MLB The Show cover 2025.
Okay. Next year.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Calling it.
Trevor Plouffe calls his shot. All right. Let's
shoot. What about Shota Imanaga? Dang it.
Shoot.
One of those two guys. NL Central represent.
Let's crank out a little Central quick.
Yeah.
Because the Mets won the 2 games over St. Louis, and the third game gets rained out. And we talked about that a little bit with Wilson Contreras, and JD breaks his arm. So that's a bad time. We mentioned the Pirates. They're about to get a boost, but it's maybe not where their team necessarily needs a boost right now. They lose 2 out of 3 to the Angels. So I guess we do everything for clicks, Trev. That's why we're mentioning Livy Dunn. And it's why we're talking about the bottom teams of the NL Central right now. My Reds, dude, they haven't been hitting. And I know they just got some help back, like Friedel just came back. But, man, the Cubs and Brewers have separated themselves a bit. I guess of those other 3 teams, do you believe in any of them? If you had to pick one to get back in the mix.
I can't believe in the Cardinals anymore. I just don't see it happening, especially with Contreras out. You know, the offense just hasn't been there. It looks like we're seeing, I would say, 3 teams that we were pretty confident in going into the year. At least I was, the Cardinals and the Astros. Those 2 teams are like models of consistency. And they have not shown that whatsoever. I believe they're both really like 1-9, 1-7 respectively in 1-run games. So that comes into play. But then you can throw in the Reds as well into that conversation. I was pretty confident in them going in, especially like the way that they've actually pitched the ball well this year.
Yeah.
But the offense is abysmal. And if you look at the central stats right now, you just go to team OPS. The Reds are 26th. The Cardinals are 27th. And the Pirates are the 28th ranked team in OPS. They're all sitting there with no offense. Below them, you could guess the 2 teams, the Marlins and the White Sox. Oof. I mean, so you're butting up against those teams, and what are you gonna? You can't. Jake Ulytics right here. You can't win games if you're not scoring runs.
Ask your Twins. That's what changed their whole season around. Like, yeah, I mean the Reds. You mentioned Hunter Green. It's kind of happening. Lodolo's had a couple big starts.
They're going. If you would have told me that the Reds were going to be starting pitchers were going to be pitching like that, I would have said they're going to be in first place in the Central.
30th in batting average, 26th in OPS. I just meant, like you said, the Pirates are 27th. And the Reds are about to go on their West Coast swing. They're going Giants, Snakes, Dodgers for 4. So I don't know. I mean, you're approaching like player only meeting time. Encarnacion Strand just goes on the IL. You're like,
I thought that's gonna work.
Like seriously, I realize not, but with an L8 going into a West Coast trip, that's one of those things that can bury a season for you.
Red starters 3.77 overall ERA. They're 13th in the big leagues. Pirates are 3.64. They're 9th in the big leagues. Like, the offenses just have not showed up, and that's actually it's a little shocking to me when you're talking about the Reds. Like, they have a lot of guys that could do it. Look, some of them are young. You can expect some sophomore slumps out of them, but it's been tough. 8 in a row. I mean, they got to have a massive turnaround, and that can still happen. We're still sitting here at May 10th, but got to see it pop.
A little credit to my Snakes. They needed some good juice. Corbin Carroll puts together a big game. They hadn't seen that in a minute. So
yeah, he went back-to-back with Marte, I believe, in the first game.
Maybe that's what can get things going in the desert a little bit, which Zach Gallen missed 11 days starting, so he's back in the mix. I think probably the best baseball that combines both these conversations is Padres Cubs. Mentioned Imanaga.
Really good right now.
I don't think he's getting shout out later in this episode. It's unbelievable, like the territory he is entering. Lowest ERA through the first 7 starts by a Cubs pitcher since 1912. Sure. Cody Bellinger comes back and has a 3-hit day for them. Great. But the only game they win this series is a Michael Busch walk-off, which, I don't know, in a way is also great news for them. But the Padres, they put together a rally in that first game as Justin Steele is working his way back, so more good Cubs news. And then Dylan Cease happens in the last game with a rise, continuing to contribute. Nice.
Crush that one, Pop. Yeah, I mean, look, this is a close series. You know, you get the Michael Busch walk-off in the rain, first pitch of the bottom 9th. You got to love that. In the first game, yeah, Steele comes back, and then it's Profar and Campusano hitting homers, big homers for them. Campusano, like his stance in the box, like he's like kind of like thicker, and he's got that big open stance. He looks like the bad guy in a knockoff video game, like the one that's always going to get hits. Like, he just has that presence in the box about him.
Did you write that in your notes? I saw you just look at your note. Okay.
No, I thought about that when I was just, going over the games, and just, he takes daddy hacks like already, but like I just remember playing, I have it over here, Ken Griffey Jr. baseball.
Wow. And
so Ken Griffey's the only one that's actually licensed in the game. Everyone else is like kind of like loosely affiliated with Major League Baseball, but like, the guy who hits third is massive in the box and hits tanks. So like, that's kind of reminds me of that when he's there. I don't know. I just thought about that.
I kind of see what you're saying. If there was like a MLB,
watch him swing the bat. The guy, it's all he takes is just massive hacks.
I guess if it was an MLB video game and they didn't have the player rights and they just played individual players, and like they couldn't get Tatis and Bogarts and Machado, so they paid Campusano. Like, he'd be a good like Padres boss.
Like, yeah.
Oh, welcome to San Diego. Throw it in here.
He wears the uniform right. I don't know. Whatever.
Okay.
Good baseball though. And then Cease on the last day was nasty. He goes 7 innings pitched, 12 Ks. Only 2 walks, which is, that's the thing you got to watch for him. Like, how are the walks doing? And it was great this game. And yeah, the Padres seem like they're a really good team, man. Like, I feel like they're so up and down. Like, sometimes we get so down on the Padres, but the talent level is there, especially when you have guys like Profar going, and obviously a guy like Jackson Merrill. Like, they just, their lineup is a little bit deeper than I think that anybody gave them credit for going into the season.
Their lineup looks awesome. Like, and Bogarts hasn't gone, and I think he had kind of a weird interview the other day, but we can put that in our rear view
What was the weird interview?
We have a inside Padres source right now in our office, Ryan Cohen. And I forget word for word.
You revealed your sources?
Yeah. Spoilers, but I think he was coming in. Ryan was coming in from the fan angle a little too hard. I think it was Bogart's just like, I'm gonna keep doing my thing. Like, this is baseball. It's gonna happen. But I think from the fan perspective, it came off a little uninspiring.
Okay.
For a guy that has 9 years left on a contract or something like that.
Got a lot of years left.
So yeah, I think it was one of those. It was kind of a big picture thing.
Okay.
Padres offense, though, second in batting average, third in runs. I remember looking for a hole in their schedule. They've got 3 with the Dodgers, tough. Rockies, okay, but then Atlanta. So they're back to 500. They're 20-20 with the Snakes and Giants trying to pursue that. But yeah, I remember looking at their schedule, and they didn't get a break till like really mid to late. Maybe it was June. So I love how the Padres roster feels stronger than it's been since, I don't know, we first started daydreaming about it. When Slam Diego happened and like the Padres were the sexy, cool team and we're taking over the streets, is this team now better than that team? I guess I'm trying to compare. I guess Padre fans, let us know how you're feeling, because I don't know if I can speak on that.
Again, I think we all went into the season saying this is a very top-heavy roster and lineup in general, but when you have guys at the bottom of it doing what they're doing, I mean, Profar might be a freaking all-star this year. And what's he making?
Nothing.
$1 million?
Yeah.
Just like right above the league minimum. I mean, those are the differences. I say that a lot on the show, but it's the truth. I mean, you have your guys who you pay a lot of money to, and you're like, hey, you go do your thing. Like, you be consistent with your numbers. And then if you can get something, from your young guys or your veterans that you bring in to lengthen the lineup, that's when you start to go. That's when you start to win games, because you're not relying on 3 guys to do it every single game. Those guys are going to struggle at some points during the year, but if you have guys to pick up the slack who are, having good at bats and hitting, timely hitting or hitting some homers, like, that's when you put streaks together. That's when that's when you start to, have a nice month or a nice run of games. And the Padres have done that, man. Let me ask you this on 3 real quick. San Diego or Arizona more likely to make the playoffs? 1, 2, 3.
Arizona.
Padres. Okay. What'd you say, Beavers?
San Diego right now.
I get it. Okay. I have my allegiances.
You're a guy. I could see how the starting pitching, I might take Arizona when everyone's healthy and doing their thing. I could see that.
Snakes, again, Corbin Carroll got off to a pretty tough start. Monty came in late. Gallen just missed some days. Sewald was out. Erod still waiting to come back. Perdomo and Thomas. Like, I don't know. I know that I'll be real for a second. I know there's something about the Snakes' run last year that doesn't feel real, whether it's the 84 wins or it's, I don't know, the franchise not historically being a juggernaut, or if it's me like lifeguarding in the pool and being friendly with the team and none of it seems real. But I don't know. There's a lot of real baseball stuff going on, and they really needed that sweep win over Cincinnati. So maybe that's what gets them going. Trev, I mentioned a lot of 2-gamers, couple kind of mess series. I think it's time for some American League Baseball.
Let me look at this.
While you look, I'm going to tell the people about Black Box Sports AI real quick, because I've been using this. This is confirmed. If you are into the MLB betting, which, you guys know who we're with in that world, Black Box, it's AI sports gambling. Last year, they ended up over 30 units. So that's kind of however much you would bet. So if that's $1, $30. If that's 10, I'll let you guys do the math at home. They hit 68% of their picks last year. I believe after last night, they are at 67.6. So if you round that up, they're at 68% again. They're plus 8 units on the year. And it's just fun. I mean, it's just a couple bets. One thing I really respected, not in the read here, one day they were like, hey, our algorithm doesn't have one. So it's not like they're forcing bets. They were just like, oh, check in tomorrow. But we don't have one for you today. We're not making this up.
Like that.
Right?
Like that.
Don't
bet just to bet.
No.
They're
That's how
telling
you
you ones
lose.
they feel good about.
That's how I got in trouble.
That's how you lose. Anyways. Black Box Sports AI is the tool to bet MLB smarter. Get started today by using code JOHNBOY at blackboxsportsai.com. $100 off the whole regular season subscription. They've got a monthly one too. But that's code JOHNBOY, blackboxsportsai.com. Smarter baseball bets.
Let me just go over a few series. I know we don't usually do 2 gamers. Where am I going to start? Okay, we're going to talk about the Dodgers a little bit. Obviously, they're very good. I don't know who calls the games. Is it Joe Davis?
Usually.
Yeah, the Ohtani homer was great. He's yelling like it sounded like a shotgun, which is he's ridiculous. The Red Sox Braves, the Braves take 2. The one note I had from here was Nick Pivetta versus Marcell Ozuna. The stats are crazy. Now I've lost them. Where the heck are they? He has 6 homers and 22 ABs against Nick Pivetta. That's ridiculous.
It's a bad
dude.
feeling.
He had two against him in the second game. He also had a go-ahead RBI in game 1. Sale with the revenge start. Like, all those good things happened in that one. Toronto, Philly. They rolled the first game. My gosh. Harper with the grand slam against Barrios. Put him up 8-0. In game 2, there was a crazy catch by Springer. He went down the line, almost like there's like a little point there where the railing juts in. He dove like right at the thing. Like, he was only like a foot away from just like diving his head into the railing. It ended up being a sac fly, but it's just a great catch. I wanted to mention that. Phillies had a chance in the bottom of the ninth. They had 2 runners on with I think the go-ahead run was at the plate. Merrifield popped up. 2 games set right there. They split that one. And then I don't know. I guess we talked about the Nationals a little bit, like, splitting with the Orioles. Orioles had to win in a extra inning fashion in game 2. But Trevor Williams has been really, really good. Like, really, really good this year. Like, in 7 starts, like, go check out what he's done. We talked a little bit about that on Baseball Today about, like, what trade pieces do they have? Are they going to be doing that? Like, where are the Nationals at in their when is the window coming? They're an interesting franchise. My take on that, if you were curious, Jake, was I don't think they should trade any of these guys. What's the point? What are you going to get for Trevor Williams? What are you going to get for Jesse Winker? Like, you might get some low-level prospects, great. But, like, what's more important? Going and continuing to try to win this year and get all your young guys experience in like meaningful games, or going to get in like a little prospect? Like, I'd rather just try this year and get all my young guys experience in playing in games in August and September that means something, which I hope they do. I mean, they're sitting at 500. Like, I hope they continue this and they're playing meaningful games. I guess if you're totally out of it by then, yeah, ship them out. But if you're still in the hunt, like, don't just give up on these guys and trade them away for just because you think you have to. I think those games mean more than getting a prospect. And that's about it. That's all I had.
Okay. Yeah, for the Nats, I think it depends where they land. If they stay around 500, and you're right, for Trevor Williams, what does that return look like? I mean, maybe it's great, and that's the decision the GM has to make. Sometimes not for the faint of heart, but it'll depend where they are at in the standings. It's been awesome to see Eddie Rosario start to go. But yeah, I think
Trevor Williams free agent walk here. Let's go.
Yeah. 7 straight games without giving up a home run. Only other pitcher to do that in Nats history, Gio Gonzalez.
196 through 7. That's nice.
Certainly something to monitor. Trevor Williams, at least of the guys that are rentals and sellable, you would clear a decent amount of salary, and a rental pitcher, someone maybe gives you something actually good. The other guys, I feel like, don't make enough that should impact your books too much. But I don't know. See where they're at.
Trevor Williams is getting paid?
Not paid, but like $7 million. If at the deadline you're clearing a little over $3 million, that's noteworthy.
Okay. I can make that work. God, he's really pitching this year. Traded by the Cubs.
Early friend of the show.
Traded by the Cubs with Javi Baez to the Mets for Pete Crow Armstrong. Big wheels keep on.
Mets fans, it wasn't
my...
just for Javi, all right?
Yeah. Trev, I mean, we got an American League here, and we're deep, Bob.
We're deep. Paul Skenes, what'd you do?
Speaking of deep, the Minnesota Twins. They take 3 out of 4 from the Mariners. I did a little head tilt, Trev. I really did. This is a big one for me. Both these upstart American League teams, they outlast Luis Castillo. They get 3 off of him in the first game with Simeon Woods Richardson holding them to 1 hit. They followed up the next day, Cal Raleigh with the pinch hit grand salami. Game flip-flopped a couple times, but that was the big one that helped Seattle roll to victory. And then Chris Paddack, the sheriff, is back, 5.1. 1 Ernie as they get 4 against Kirby. And then they rout him in the last game. Pablo Lopez shoves. Willie Castro is just, an MVP now? Max Kepler, he's hot. We get it. Twins, real recognize real. Rangers, they take 3 out of 4 from the A's. Couple fun ones in this one, including the last game that's a 12-11. How are your catchers hitting? Jonah, Heim, and Langeliers in this one are all over every box score. Rangers took the first one with a Corey Seager 3-run bomb in the top of the 8th. Some fun AL West baseball. The Rangers do end up, in 2 games, they combined for quick math 27 runs. They can do that. Hey, A's won 1 game and JP Sears won back-to-back starts. Go A's, go. In the Central, the Guardians take 2 out of 3 from the Detroit Tigers, including an extra inning last game in the final one. Brian Rocchio, the kid, with his walk-off single. David Fry, couldn't believe that homer got out. Sorry, Chafin. Breakdown inbound. The game the Tigers won, Andy Ibanez, 4 for 4. Ryan Vilade, Jesus-looking MFer. You thought Carey was a carpenter. Go check him out. And then a couple friends in that first game, Flaherty McKenzie. So they probably had a nice bottle of wine after the game and talked about Trevor Plouffe and his fingerprints. The Brewers, they lost 2 out of 3 to the Royals. Okay, Royals. I see you. Bryce Wilson and Cole Ragans teeing it off in that first game, but the Royals took the lead in the 7th. Michael Massey homer and Michael Garcia. Good day to be a Michael. Brewers won the middle game line. Seth Lugo, Willie Adames, Joey Ortiz. Rhys Hoskins, his dog, watching him hit. We got a bark at the park night. We love that. But Royals take the series in that last game. Bobby Witt double in the first. Perkins slipped. That's tough, but they will take it. And the New York Yankees, Trev, they take 2 out of 3 from the Houston Astros. Giancarlo flexes his muscle, hardest hit ball of the season.
Which muscle? They
get to Justin Verlander. 7 earned runs off of him. Paul Skenes in, JV out. Okay. Verdugo's playing great. Volpe had a couple homers. Houston salvages the last game. Rodon pitches well for the Yanks. Houston. And then the big series everyone's talking about. Rays took 2 out of 3 from the White Sox. 5-game winner from the Rays wearing their City Connects, the city of skateboarding and neon. We love Tampa. Zach Eflin shoved. Johnny DeLuca is your guy. Erasmo Ramirez with a huge outing out of the pen. Nobody watched. I bet on this, and I actually watched for a little bit, but that's what happened in the AL.
Nice job, Poppy. I'll give you the standings, and then I'll give you the history of why Tampa is such a skate city, because people have been in my replies.
Jack Flaherty and Tristan McKenzie just being like, yeah, no, Trev's cool. He's just a little off.
He's a little old.
Just has no idea about Tampa's skate culture.
Wife's hot.
How does he not know about their skate culture?
Yeah, his wife is hot.
Do they drink wine? Yeah, they did say my wife's hot. Gosh, she is hot. Shoot, in the standings, the AL East. I think these are updated. Sometimes Baseball Reference, I feel like, is not updated, and that's where I go for my standings.
I've got
Baltimore, 24-12 at the top of the division, half game ahead of the Yanks at 25-14. The Boston Red Sox. I saw a really funny commercial about Sox and birds. It was really good. I'll talk about that later. They're 19-18. Tampa Bay Rays, hey, people are writing them off. They're 19-19, right back in the thick of things. And Toronto is 17-20 at the bottom of the division. Drake lost the rat beef. So everyone's saying, maybe we'll talk about that later. In the Central, Cleveland, they just win games, dude. I don't get it. We're going to get into the series, but my goodness. 24-14. My Twins right behind them at 22-15. Kansas City right there at 23-16. Tigers 19-18. That's 4 teams over 500 in the Central. It's a beast. And then the White Sox, not so beastly at 10-28. In the West, those Rangers 22-17. Seattle 20-18 and 1.5 games behind Texas. And then Oakland 18-21. The LA Angels, 14-24, and the freaking Houston Astros, baby. What is you doing, baby? 13-24. And those are the standings.
You ready to bury Houston?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. They've just been so good for so long. I feel the same way with the Cardinals, man. I'm much more apt to bury the Cardinals right now than I am Houston. And honestly, I think Houston's playing worse ball. But there's some reason I can't do it, man. Can you? You just watched him play against your Yanks. I know the Yanks are playing good ball right now and they hit some homers. Like, my goodness, some of those homers. But when you watched them, are they dead?
I don't know. I mean, if they didn't have their pedigree, yes, we would be screaming it from the rafters, but they do.
They do have the pedigree, and they do still have fucking bangers in that lineup.
I did a Wake and Jake episode 2 weeks ago where I was like, Houston needs to start winning games. And it was kind of right around the same time as Minnesota. And Minnesota did. Minnesota's gone off, bro. I'm happy for you, bro. Should we rap beef right now?
You hear about this? Twins are winning.
Houston's got to win something. Like, they're at Detroit, and they're seeing my Scooble and Flaherty, and I don't know. I don't know how that series is going to go. There's a chance we're here on Monday, and it's like, okay, Houston, they needed this. There's also a chance we look at it, and it's like, Houston lost 2 out of 3, and A, they just got straight up beat, or B, something ridiculously baseball happened, and Presley gets hit, or they didn't turn a double play and the inning gets away from them. Like, it just feels like they've kind of got the bad baseball juju right now. They have to start winning something, and then I'll open my eyes to them. But what they have done thus far in the season, nothing. Nothing.
In the series, we had the three-headed monster all go yard. Everyone was, like the meme when the guy's at the computer with, what all over himself. That's what was going on in my Twitter timeline because I follow way too many Yankees fans. Stanton, though.
What meme is that? I'm not familiar.
Stanton in the first game, it's the line drive homer at like 118 miles an hour. And in the second game goes where only the big boys go in Yankee Stadium, second deck in left field at 120. Is Big G back? Talk to me.
119.8.
Well, Michael K gave him 120 on the call, so
can't round up after 100.
Big G is not back to Miami. It's good to know he's got that in there. Oh, I think I just saw that meme. He's a threat, and we'll take that for now because there was a little bit where G wasn't a threat. So you'd hope there's a little more in there. It's a very ugly modern-day player stat line for him, like low batting average, low on base, but when he hits it, it goes. So I don't know. If the rest of the Yankees can be who they're supposed to be, this version of Giancarlo we can work with, and we couldn't say that 2 months ago.
And G, it does feel like the hits he is getting are finding moments.
His runners in scoring position numbers are really good, which that can also buy you some.
That helps a lot.
Yep.
So here we talked about two teams, the models of consistency. The Houston Astros are right now on DraftKings to make the playoffs. -200 no. So it's juiced on the no, but you don't really get a big payoff on the yes, +170. So I still feel like they're still drawing on that, people believing in them. I thought it was going to be more on the yes. I was thinking about sprinkling a little bit on the yes. The St. Louis Cardinals, they have a different view of, my guy. Yes is +360, no is -450. Obviously, I think that has a lot to do with Contreras. That line probably shot up.
Doesn't help.
Man, I'm gonna sprinkle some on that Astros line.
Fangraphs has them with a 35% chance to make the playoffs still. So do with that whatever you want. Trevor, a Tampa note quick, because I really don't have anything on the series. White Sox, they get the last game. Tampa back in the mix, and they just got a couple guys back. Josh Lowe is back for them, who is a huge impact lefty bat for them when he is right. The bigger thing I wanted to mention with Tampa, they control their own fate pretty good coming up. They play Yankees, Red Sox, Jays, Red Sox. So, Rays, if you guys are finding it right now, they had a 5-game winner. The New Jerseys, did that help? They got a couple bodies back. If there's a time for the Rays to, quote-unquote, raise up, if they do it right now, yeah, they'll be sitting right where they want to be.
I was going to talk about the Keller and Soroka piggyback situation with the White Sox, but I think we'll deep dive into that next episode.
Yeah, save that.
Yeah, no, they're one of those teams that you can never give up on them. In my opinion, you just can't. Johnny DeLuca had the walk off in the series before. Then he had a big game. He's been great since coming off the IL. Eflin's doing his thing. Of course the jerseys work. Of course the jerseys work down Tampa, and they host one of the biggest pro-am skate competitions every single year in Tampa. The counterculture is massive in Tampa. It's embedded into the city. That's why they have a Guy Fieri inspired City Connect jersey. I need to get one of those. Those things are fucking awesome. Do they really glow in the dark?
Trev, I'm gonna try to do this Band-Aid style. No, I was being a fake drama queen. You're Twins, man. I did a head tilt. Like, okay, you give me a win streak, we're going to see a lot of win streaks this year. The win streak ends. How are we still looking? Are the boys still going to be bopping? Are we hitting?
Yes.
Are we pitching? They go and they face the Mariners, who were in first place in the West, and they give them the business in 3 out of 4. And the bats feel real, like the Seattle Mariners pitching staff that was doing historic things. They get to them. And now the Twins are 22-15. Like the cold start never even happened. They're having a great start to the year.
Yeah, I think there's still room to improve for them. I'll go quickly on this because I am going to be talking a little bit of Twins later on. So yeah, they had the win streak against the Angels and the White Sox. So everyone kind of was like, oh, it's the Angels and the White Sox. Then they had to come home and play Boston and Seattle. I'm talking about possibly the two best pitching staffs in the big leagues, and they rolled them, man. They took 2 or 3 from Boston, took 3 or 4 from the Mariners, and yeah, big offensive outbursts. I mean, they're kind of getting the same treatment that I was talking about in San Diego. Like, you have guys you expect to put up numbers, and then you have the extra guys, and if they start hitting with runners in scoring position, or they start having a good season, that's when you start to reel off some wins. You talked about Willie Castro. He's been really good. Every time he gets like thrust into more playing time with an injury, he just steps up, man. He can play center field, he can play shortstop, he can play really any position on the field. I love him as a player. He's been really good. Then Ryan Jeffers is like he's one-dotting it on the year. It's like him, Otani, Betts, Ozuna. It's like him and like some of the best hitters in baseball, and it's Ryan Jeffers, who was supposed to be the backup catcher to Christian Vasquez. They signed Vasquez to a 3-year, $30 million deal. Vasquez ain't the catcher anymore. It's Ryan Jeffers. And if Ryan Jeffers isn't catching, he's DHing. Like he's doing it. And yeah, and the Twins have had the pitching has been good. Like they've Simeon Woods Richardson, he's looked good. He's a lot better than I thought he was going to look. He doesn't really have like big time stuff, but he's pitching well, and we'll get into the pitching staff a little bit more later. But I think you have to give the Twins credit because of what they did to the Red Sox and the Mariners. I get why people will be skeptical about a win streak against the A's and the Angels and the White Sox, but they've took 2 series now against some pretty good teams.
And good pitching, right? Like I know the Red Sox, that's not what we thought their MO was going to be, but they've been like the best pitching staff in baseball, and behind them was Seattle. So I guess that's what gave me the full head tilt, the fact that they are still hitting. They're pitching enough. I know you're going to talk about that a little more in a minute.
And they had a chance to sweep too. Like I said, Rocco like sometimes won't use his good bullpen, so he brings in Okert. They bring in Cal Raleigh to pinch hit. He had a freaking bomb, like third deck in Minnesota. Even I didn't get up there.
Not in that Joe Mauer home run derby.
Close.
Oh yeah.
With
a
I thought I
softball and a
saw.
loaded bat.
I thought
Yeah,
I saw
got
that get up there.
Okay, thanks for reminding me of that.
No problem, Trev. I think about that more than I really like to admit to you.
It was so much fun.
I could not believe how far you were hitting that softball.
Yeah, I had the stroke down. You want to talk Texas A's?
Honestly, I have some Texas A's stuff coming up later, so I'm good on that. And I don't want to say I'm good the rest of the way, but if you want to cook again.
Yeah, I'll just give some notes. Texas A's, I mean, there was some crazy games there. In the second game, the Rangers were up 11-0 in the second inning, but I think they ended up winning like 15-8 or something like that. It's a very strange game. Ursig, the first game against Seager, 6 straight changeups before Seager pumped him to give Texas a lead. He said, "That's my best pitch, and I was going to go to it." Doing that to Corey Seager, I don't know if that's the best game plan. I guess if he executes the pitch a little better, it's different. And then the Rooker and Langeliers, I think you're going to talk about them a little bit later, but Rangers are good, man. Other series is the Brewers Kansas City series. We haven't talked about that yet, have we?
Please.
Again, Royals had a chance to sweep this whole dang thing, man. 3-run bottom of the 7 gets it done. Massey and Michael Garcia in the first game, and then Adames. Did you see the whole interaction with the fans? So he's on deck. He's on deck. It's the bottom of the 9th. The guys have been talking crap in the front row the whole game. He said they were very nice. It wasn't like a malicious thing, but they were just giving him shit. And he said, "Hey man, if I get up, like I'm probably gonna win this game." And they're like, "Oh yeah, right." Gary Sanchez, great at bat in front of him, gets on base, and then Adames pumps it, gives him the lead, and if you have the highlight up, go watch this highlight, people, of Adames' homer. He goes back and he's like high-fiving with the Royals fans after he just gave his team the lead. And this is at Kauffman. They were acting like Brewers fans at that point, but they were it was just such a fun moment. They were talking crap with a big leaguer, and then he does what he says he's going to do. They were like high-fiving, between the net. It was really fun. But anyways, Royals, 2 out of 3 with a chance to sweep. They're playing really, really good baseball. They're a dangerous team, and I think they're like one of the teams that's probably going to add the most at the deadline, if I had to guess.
Yeah,
other than that, I think we're good.
We were daydreaming some trades for them. It gets fun. Vinny Pasquantino turning on baseballs.
Oh my gosh, bro, he's been hitting bombs this year. Detroit, Cleveland.
Yeah.
Riley Green homers on first pitch, the first pitch of the game in Game 1. Ibanez.
Yeah.
Homers on the third pitch of Game 2. He had another homer in the third, 3-run bomb. Ramirez with the go-ahead homer off my guy Flaherty, bottom of the 6th off the pole in the first game. And then, Chafin gives up, the Tigers had a real chance there to take the series, but Chafin gives up the homer to David Fry to tie the game in the 9th, and then Rocchio They brought the outfielders into the infield. First pitch against Lange. Lang or Lange? Lang.
I think Lang.
Lang. Rocchio, getting it done. That's what I'm saying. Like, Cleveland just finds ways to win games, man. They just, when you think they're out, they're not. And they get it done, man.
Trev, amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. We're talking about your teams more in a second. Maybe in our standout performances, maybe in Fuego, maybe IL, or maybe awards. But for now, I need to hear Trevor Plouffe's standout performance.
I'm going to go with LA Dodger Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He's been incredible since that first start. He's been really, really good. And I thought this was a funny one, too, because you have MLB Network showing this game, and Greg Amsinger, who's like, I think he's kind of like you in a different simulation. Like, he loves ball.
Me and Greg need to, I'll be real. Me and Greg need to
fight.
We need to fucking hash it out. I can't tell if we are peas in a pod, or like if we are yin and yang to each other, or if we don't speak the same language. I think me and him need a night with a bottle of whiskey and see what's in the bottom of it.
Chris Rose pointed this out to me about him. Like, I don't think he has social media at all. And he's just like been on this network. And like, sometimes he's like really funny and he's really engaged. Like, he like obviously really loves the sport. Sometimes I see him and you, like, there's some similarities there.
My joke I used to make, and it is a joke, because I'm not actually saying this. I used to say it feels like he's got a skeleton in his closet. Just because, like, dude, he's tall, handsome. Like, he is quick. He's funny. Like, it seems like it's all there. No social media. So that's
a life decision. I like that.
He's just a baseball king of all kings. Like, I'm okay with that if it's true. Also, I don't know.
Oh, my God.
Nobody's got everything. Nobody's got everything.
There's got to be something wrong with you.
He's got good hair, too.
Great hair.
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, I'm giving it to Yoshinobu Yamamoto
Great hair.
Great hair. Great hair.
Yeah.
He could not rock that sweatshirt, though.
No.
So you win.
Fitting it.
I hate when people do this because, a season is a season. So you can't really take out stuff. But I'm going to do this a couple times this episode, so I don't know why I just said that. Take out that first start. Yamamoto's got 41 innings pitched, only 8 earned runs to a 1.76 ERA, 45 Ks and 41 innings to 7 walks. Like, he's been incredible. And to start this game, Amsinger goes no-hitter alert. They're playing the Marlins. Yamamoto is on no-hitter alert already. First pitch of the game, Jazz Chisholm pumps him. But he ends up going 8 innings pitched, 2 earned runs. I mean, the Dodgers have everything that they need. Like, literally everything that they need. And a farm system that can go out and still get guys. So they're doing well. And shout out Yamamoto, because I think he's like flying under the radar somehow. And I don't know if that's like the Shohei effect. I don't know if like Imanaga has kind of like taken over that, like, hey, first year Japanese pitcher crown. I don't know. Whatever it is, I feel like he's flying under the radar, so I wanted to shout him out a little bit.
Well, if you remember, I gave him the Monday Night Football award because his first start stood out, and a lot of people just move on.
Yes.
But yeah, I like the Imanaga effect a little bit too, and Shohei. Ippei pled guilty. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did. I have so many questions about that. Let's not get into that.
That's
anymore.
another time.
So they're making a show about it?
Trev, there was a ton of potential NL pitching snubs. Kyle Harrison at Coors. Mitch Keller goes 9. Dylan Cease, 7 innings, 1 hit, 12 strikeouts. I'm going a slightly different route. I saw Jonah Heim's 4-hit day, and I was like, hey, how's Jonah Heim doing? And he's doing well, because Jonah Heim's a good baseball player. 4-hit day at the office always helps. Jonah Heim on the year, 300 batting average, 341 on base, a 766 OPS. I was in his game logs. He got off to a slow-ish start that if you like butter knife out the first 5 games, he's been a 313, 361, 816 switch hitting catcher. Which again, those shouldn't fall on trees, and maybe the AL West feels spoiled, him and Cal Raleigh. But there's another guy in the AL West that had a massive day at the office. Shea Langeliers. Doubleheader. He has 3 hits in the first game, 2 hits in the second game, home runs in each of them, 8 RBI. I mentioned Giancarlo having a modern-day stat line. Langeliers is in the same boat, 209, 260 on base, but a 513 slug, a 773 OPS. He's a big part of the reason the A's are being a competitive team this year. So it was a little love to Langeliers because the A's are 3rd in home runs. He had a historic doubleheader, and that's fun. And then it was also just a reminder to me that it's like, my God, where'd Jonah Heim come from?
You love saying that.
We just play it cool. Oh,
I love
Texas has a huge switch hitting catcher now. Done.
who's like really good at framing as well.
Got him for Andrews' expiring deal.
I love that you gave the catcher some love there because the catchers they be hitting, coach. They be hitting this year. There's an article on MLB.com that references that of Major League Baseball's top 20 hitters in OPS entering Thursday, 5 of them were catchers. Both Contreras brothers, Sal Perez, Will Smith, and my guy Ryan Jeffers. There's some bangers at the catcher position, which is I kind of love.
Yeah.
Like that position has changed now. There used to be 1 or 2 guys that played catcher that could hit. Buster Posey, Joe Mauer. I guess what's his name? Sorry, Molina at the end of his career kind of like learned how to hit, and I was weird. When did that happen?
Yeah,
He had like some hitting years, some no hitting years.
Yachty had a nice little contact stretch.
He was hitting like 300,
prime,
wasn't
yeah.
he? Like just out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Remember he had that walk off and he threw his bat all the way into center field. Do you remember that?
That's baseball.
That was awesome.
That's baseball.
Hey, guess what the Cardinals need? That motherfucker.
Uh-oh. Yeah. Is that the end of statement?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
Go catchers, go.
While the A's get mentioned, Brent Rooker has been one of the best hitters in baseball the past week or so. So it's
There's
cool
a lot of Pilates.
Cool to see that story continue. Former Twin great. Trev, like I said, there's a lot of guys. I mentioned the pitchers. Kevin Pillar, 2 homers. But the list you really want to be on.
Dirt nasties on fuego. That means I'm on fire, baby. Like Waco.
I think I'm going to be on fire tonight. I got a good feeling about myself. Got a good feeling about myself today. Jake, Olivia just texted me saying she misses me. That's great for me. Great sign for me. How about Texas second baseman Marcus Semien going back to the old stomping grounds in Oakland? He went 10 for 20, 2 homers, 6 runs driven in. He collected 4 hits in the first 4 innings on Tuesday, becoming the first Ranger since Ian Kinsler on April 15, 2009 to do that. I have this little kid on our 8 and under team, plays shortstop for us. Ian Kinsler, doppelganger. Can't wait to see him play in the big leagues. I mentioned this guy before, Andy Ibanez in Detroit. He went 5 for 11 in the series with 2 homers, 4 runs driven in, and 5 runs scored. Congratulations, Andy Ibanez, on your Infuego mention. For the week, of course, this guy is on it. Shohei Ohtani went 10 for 21, 4 homers, 8 runs driven in, 5 walks, 4 stolen bases to boot. What are we doing with this guy? He had 4 homers in a 3-game span for the 4th time in his career because that's what he does. How about our guy, Johnny DeLuca? Famously, my New Year's Eve date, wasn't inebriated at all talking to his dad on New Year's. 7 for 20 with a double, a triple, a homer, and 10 MFing runs driven in, people. He mixed in 3 walks and 2 stolen bases in that series as well. And then my favorite reliever in all of baseball, Texas relief pitcher David Robertson. He's played for every team now. Is he the new LaTroy Hawkins? People are saying 3 games, 1-0, 1 save, 1 hold, 4 innings pitched, no hits, no 7 Ks. How long is this guy going to pitch for? You remember how chiseled he is. You remember how chiseled that guy's body is, Jake. You saw him in a towel in the clubhouse in Clearwater. And then for the 2 weeks, people, we have two twins on this sheet right now. I don't write the sheet. Dalton Feely does. Max Kepler, 15 for 36. He's been incredible since he's been back. He set his career high with an 11-game hitting streak and is batting .434 with a 1.2 with 3 homers and 14 runs driven in 16 games since coming off the IL. Let me repeat that. He's hitting .434 with a 1.2 since coming off the IL. Massive reason why the Twins are doing what they're doing. And he's also a free agent at the end of this year. How about Willie Castro? We mentioned him. He went 19 for 48, 5 doubles, 3 triples, 6 RBIs, 11 runs scored, 4 stolen bases. My goodness. I really, really like this guy. He's in line for a nice little payday as well. Gavin Stone. I would say warehouse adjacent Gavin Stone. He's been really, really good. 3 games started, 20 innings pitched, only 13 hits, 11 Ks to 3 walks. That's a 1.35 ERA and a .8 whip. All 3 earned runs the last 2 weeks have been off solo homers, and he's allowed 2 or fewer runs in each of his last 5 starts. So go, Gavin, go. And then lastly on the list, Cleveland reliever Nick Sandlin. 7 games. He's got 1 save, 7 1/3 innings pitched, 3 hits, no earned runs, no walks, and 6 Ks. That's good for a .41 whip. And that, my friends, is Susan Fuego.
What's Willie Castro about, Trev?
Nicest guy you're ever going to meet, dude. Just like a handsome dude, can play every single position. He gets on these heaters with the bat too. Like he can carry a team from time to time, and just, I don't know, man. The Twins, I think he signed a minor league deal with them 2 years ago. And here he is. He is. You talk about the old school manager. Give me 9 of those players and I'll win the game. Give me 9 Willie Castros. I'll win some games. Me and Craig Counsell teaming up. Boom. We win World Series.
I like that a lot. Great stuff, Trev. Best segment of the show, followed by the worst segment of the show, the IL. And man, we've got a lot of names. Where to start? Wilson Contreras, I guess, because we already know about that one, and we hate that. Jorge Soler for the Giants. That's a bit of a bummer. I mentioned Encarnacion Strand with Cincy. God, they need hitting right now. Edward Cabrera for Miami. Hate that. Tyler Matzik for Atlanta goes on the IL. Pepio for Tampa Bay. Big piece in that Glasnow trade. Brandon Drury and Rengifo for the Angels. Josh Spores in the Texas bullpen. So gonna need the ageless David Robertson to keep pitching, and I think he's officially entered ageless territory. The good news is, guys coming back. A couple of these guys I mentioned on Monday are supposed to come back. Walker Buehler and Justin Steele. That's huge. Jake Berger getting thick for those fish. Josh Lowe for the Rays. Mentioned him. Belly Friedel, a couple lefty outfielders. Frankie Montas. Okay. Paul Sewald on the back end for the Snakes. Taj Bradley comes back for Tampa. Braxton Garrett for Miami. You mentioned full pension Piv. And how about Christian Yelich for those fighting Milwaukee Brewers? And that's the IL. That's the worst segment of the show. But it's time to start people's freaking weekends. Awards are brought to you by the DraftKings Sportsbook. Bottom of the 9th, 2 outs, bases full, down 3, crowd on their feet. The drama of baseball is real, and so is
Grand Slam.
The action at the DraftKings Sportsbook. They've got same-game parlays, live betting, odds boosts, and so much more. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code TALKIN. New customers bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's code TALKIN, only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. A little note, not from DraftKings. I won maybe my ugliest bet of the year. I bet the Rockies to score in the 9th inning against the Giants. And with 2 outs, Elias Diaz went big fly. And that won me a bet.
Where were you watching that game?
And that
on
was
the couch?
That was on the couch late night, and that was to bring the Rockies down 2, and they lost. But I didn't in that moment. So
That's all that matters.
Where's your award going, Trev? It's not Twins adjacent, is it?
Well, I'm not sure. You'll find out. So my award is called the 2-in-1 Shampoo and Conditioner Award. And this actually happened this morning. I wake up pretty early here, 5 o'clock West Coast time. I got to get up and do some research, and I don't like to rush. So I get up early and I get in the shower. And today I just felt like, man, I don't want to do shampoo, rinse, condition, let sit, and then rinse. I was like, I remember back in the day, I used to buy 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. But those days are long gone, Coach. Like I have a wife now. She would never let that enter our shower. Like that's just not going to happen.
I would assume a lot of our fan base leans 2-in-1.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Sure. If you're still rocking the 2-in-1, great. I've forgotten about it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if this is going to work. Like, is this going to work? If I put shampoo and I put conditioner and kind of like mix them up together, like, is my hair going to feel as good as it does when I do one and then the other? Because when you do that, when you actually shampoo your hair and massage the scalp, rinse it out, and then let your conditioner sit for like 3 minutes, I mean, there's no better feeling. Your hair just feels like so silky and beautiful. Like, I love it. And there's that whole, what is that? The Adam Sandler movie where he's like, conditioner, no shampoo. I think conditioner wins that battle. That's my take. Yeah. Because you don't need to shampoo your hair all the time. That's another myth that people need to know about. So anyways, I wasn't sure it was going to work, Jake.
Right.
Wasn't sure it was going to work, but I'm in there about 5:10 in the morning, and I'm shampooing and conditioning at the same time. Look at this. My hair looks great, and it worked. It worked. And so now my whole, like, I might be going back to that and saying, Liv, like, sorry, I'm going to put this bottle in our shower. Don't touch it. That's mine. So the shampoo and conditioner thing works. So give that a try. Or if you're one of our listeners who's already doing it, you're like, obviously it works, Coach Trev. That's what I do, Coach. Another thing I wasn't sure was going to work was the Twins starting pitching plans this year. All offseason, I said, hey, we need to bring somebody in here. We need to go get Dylan Cease. That's what I wanted. Didn't end up happening. He goes to the Padres. The Twins front office kept saying, look, we have enough. We have Pablo, ace. Joe Ryan, potential ace. Bailey Ober, hell of a quality starter, to be in the middle of the rotation. And then the back two was kind of up in the air. Louis Varland, okay, he's going to get a shot at it. But they were always very, very high on Chris Paddack. And I wasn't sure if it was going to work. This guy's coming off his second TJ, came back at the end of last year, and I didn't really see a lot from him last year. I didn't see what they saw. Wasn't into it, especially him being, the fourth or fifth starter in this rotation. I felt like the Twins needed to go out and get somebody. So I see him pitching during spring training. Like, okay, like this looks like something. He's gotten into the season. And this guy's been really, really good. A lot better than his numbers will suggest. I think if you're looking just straight at his numbers right now, you're saying, dude, he's got a 4.34. Like, what are we doing here, Coach Trev? If you take out his one horrible start, and again, I know I don't like to do that, but he had a really an outlier start against the Orioles where he gave like 8 earned runs. It was very, very bad. Similar to the Yamamoto start. If you take those out, he's 4-0 with a 2.5 without that Orioles start. Better than that, if you take his last 4 starts, 23 1/3 innings pitched, 28 strikeouts to 3 walks, and only 5 earned runs. That's a 1.93 ERA. He has found something, and his story is kind of inspiring. He talks about the 2 TJs and kind of like where he went to, mentally. He was down after his first one, but he said that when you have a second TJ, you kind of know what to expect. So he said, I wasn't do or die with baseball. I decided to, go and spend time with my family. He goes, I really started to get into fishing. He even caught like a 9-pound bass at Lake Okeechobee in Florida, which is, people know bass fishing. That is a massive largemouth bass. But what I've seen from him and what's really impressed me is his four-seam fastball has been so like kind of up and down in his career. It's been really bad, even to a -8 run value 1 year. That's the pitch that's really, really played up for him. He's thrown it really aggressively at the top of the strike zone. There's been times where I can tell he's going to throw his fastball by his mannerisms. He wants to fucking blow your doors off, dude. There was a game, I believe it was against the Red Sox. Did he pitch against the Red Sox? He did. Game against the Red Sox, it was Devers was up. And he's getting him 3-2 and threw him a couple fastballs. And Devers was like right on him. I could tell by the way he shook his head that it wasn't a fake shake. He was like, no, give me the heater. And he freaking blows it by Rafael Devers. And that guy can absolutely swing it. So he's got a lot of confidence in that pitch. The changeup's been up and down. That's usually a really good pitch for him. It's been okay. The curveball, I think, is something that he's really worked on. He's thrown at the top of the zone. It's a big old 12-6er. That's been a big pitch for him. But he's just, I wasn't sure that it was going to work. But, with the Twins going on their run, he's been a big part of it. Again, you can butter knife his stats where he's actually done really, really well. And he's got a little bit of a leadership role in the Twins clubhouse as well. People like the energy and like the attitude that he brings. He reminds me of an old school pitcher. I really like that. Like, it's very much like emotion, and he lets it all out on the mound. It's really fun to watch. So if you haven't watched Chris Paddack pitch, haven't heard his story, or read about his story, go ahead and do that. I'm just happy for him. And again, just like the shampoo and conditioner, I wasn't sure it was going to work. It's working. That's it.
Snaps, it's quite the way to get there. I always appreciate that. I guess my add-ons would just be, how's your baseball story? Like we did a whole thing about Paul Skenes getting called up. A little different, but a 23-year-old Chris Paddack for what looked like a new age Padres team or an upstart Padres team, hopefully. 26 starts, a 3.33 ERA. The Sheriff, like a nickname and attitude about him. And then, like you said, between performance and injury and COVID, things happen quick that he finds himself, he's throwing bullets out of the Minnesota bullpen last year. He gets an opportunity, and like you said, especially if you use that butter knife, which you can, he's been great for them, and it makes, a part of that trade was Brent Rooker, who I know couldn't really find the right opportunity in Minnesota and is now finding it with Oakland, but with what he's doing in their rotation makes that a little easier, and good for him.
It was 9 earned runs against Baltimore, and they kept him in the game because the bullpen was depleted. He just said, "Let me wear it, coach."
That's
what you're gonna get from time to time with a starter. So you got to tip your cap there as well.
Got to have a little chops to do that. Trev, great award. Great award. I'm giving out the Respect the Card award. Like we mentioned at the top of the episode, I'm a sports guy. I love things that matter in sports. I mean, even part of the Knicks that are really cool right now is they got 3 guys that played together in college, and they have awesome chemistry, and that's cool. And we love like redemption series. Like I asked Boone at the beginning of this week, like, hey, you guys are playing Houston, and there's blood in the water. Does this mean more? And the most a manager's going to give you, he was like, we have it as like a benchmark series for us, which, for baseball managers, it's normally, next day at a time and never too high, too low. Like, to actually put that out there, things have to matter in sports. And Chris Sale got traded away this offseason for Vaughn Grissom, who, had a cup of coffee, looked okay, then he didn't, and does he have a position and all that. And we looked at it like, wow, is this the Braves? This is kind of a salary dump, and what are the Braves going to tap in? Like, is he just going to be is he just going to be a reliever for, like, the Phillies, basically? Is that what the Braves are lining up? The Braves extended his ass instantly.
Right away.
Looking at the other starting pitching on the market and said, this will be fine for us. Chris Sale went 6 innings, shut 10 strikeouts against his former team, the Boston Red Sox. In his last 4 starts, he is 4-0. 25 innings pitched, a 1.8 ERA, 32 strikeouts in those 25 innings. He's been a dominant Chris Sale, and that's got to feel good for him. And we always wonder when things are going to run out. Father Time is undefeated. There's no 70-year-old players in Major League Baseball. Like, Father Time will win. And we always wonder when that's going to happen, between injuries or just age or whatever. Maybe the Braves, again, they've got a lot of secret sauce going on down there. What's the Braves Foundation? Why is Charlie Morton still just nasty? Why is Chris Sale healthy and shoving? I don't know. I don't care. Chris Sale against his former team shoved it. And I was going to do just a little assist kicker in this to big Giancarlo Stanton. Because, especially with Soto and Judge, this guy has moved to the back burner. And the fact that he hit the hardest ball in baseball this year, and it's like, okay, so you still do have that in the chamber. I like when the guys with pretty cool back of their baseball cards prove they still got it. And Sale is rolling. G, not fully, but fully enough for Yankees fans. But I just like, hey, this team fucking traded me away. Here's 6 and 10 punchies on you.
Love that. We had a couple instances of that this weekend. You mentioned Eugenio going deep against his former team. Yeah. I love watching Chris Sale pitch, and I think he might be the first 70-year-old to throw a pitch in the big leagues because he's just so different. He had that run, Cy Young 6, 5, 3, 4, 5, 2, 4 in consecutive years. Never won one, which is kind of crazy. He's electric, man. And you're right. We were wondering what the heck was going to happen with him down in Atlanta, and they extended him immediately and said, we're going to just tap into the guy that had 7 straight top 6 Cy Young finishes, because that's what they do. And then Big G, I think, likes, in my opinion, I don't really know, I didn't ask him, but I think he likes being in the shadows. It's great for him. Like, let me just play behind these guys. You guys do all the thing, and then I'm going to pop in every once in a while and just smoke a ball 120 miles an hour off the bat, and everyone's going to remember how good I am and that I might still get into Hall of Fame if I go on a heater here in the next couple of years.
Good couple seasons, 500 on the horizon. No one in Major League history has hit a ball harder than him. Ever.
I think one time I fielded a ground ball from him that was like 120 miles an hour. And a lot of times you'll get the hardest hit ball is a ground ball. So it doesn't come at you 120, but he is playing third base with a guy like Giancarlo Stanton is not fun. It is, you're pretty good. Like, you have good reactions. Like, you're in the game. Like, you see a lot of hard hit balls, but he's different. It's a different guy.
Some guys.
I did just like the image of Chris Sale also just pitching till he's 50, kind of Jesse Oroscoing around.
He kind of looks like he's 50 anyway. He did when he was 20.
He'll look great.
Him and Jesse Chavez together, just on the Braves.
Oh, just forever.
By the way, Jesse Chavez stats don't look.
Okay.
They're really good. They're really good.
Oh, okay. Then I will. Hey, everyone.
Just gross.
135. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Make sure you're subscribed and all the fun stuff. Enjoy your weekend of baseball. We will be back on Monday. Wow.
Pretty good. Jesse Chavez and T Plush, Niger Morgan coming over to my apartment in the Arizona Fall League. We all just got tested for marijuana. That was fun.
The big 3.
That was hilarious.
Anthony
Swarzak was there.
Swizzle Sticks is always there.
Our neighbor had these like mini greyhounds that would just run around. They were so freaking fast. I want a mini greyhound. They're awesome.
Mini greyhound.
Yeah.